Okay, now Lou, at one point, your son, who I guess is named after you as well.
Yes, he's the third.
Lou the Third decided that he wants to be a rapper and forms a group called the Hood Stars. Now, initially, it was just, what, Lou and 7-Up?
No, it was first of all, it was Lou Star by himself doing this thing. And he's the one that kind of wanted a crew, you know, but it was him by himself, because I remember even Steve Rifkin was interested in just Lou by himself.
As a solo artist.
As a solo artist.
And
but
hold on, Lou, right there, I remember I was on Broadway and we was at a studio over there, and this real little confidently arrogant kid came to me and he said, yo, full force, yo, man, I'm a rapper, I'm telling you, my name is 7-Up, man.
Yeah,
yo,
that sounds like 7-Up.
You need to give me a shot. And I'm like, well, do something for me right now, man. He's just doing something for me in the street. And I'm like, you know what? I think my nephew might dig you, man. Give me a number, you know? And that's how that started.
Really?
The
Yeah.
7-Up.
I didn't know that.
The 7-Up was hilarious on your show, by the way. So they're just interested in my son as Lou Star. So what happened is that a friend of mine's named Neil Grant in Brooklyn said, yo, Lou, man, I want you to come check out this girl, or come listen to her. You know, her name is Nicki Minaj, and she works out of my friend's studio. His name is Boz, and I want you to come check her out.
That's her real name, Mirage.
Right, Nicki Minaj was her, her real birth name. So when Neil Grant told me about that, he came, picked me up. We went over to Boz's studio, and I'm listening to this girl, and her sound is ridiculous, rapping. And I'm like, wow, she's dope. But she does more than just rap, she sing. And so I immediately called my son and I told my son about her. And he said, yo, Dad, that'll be dope. Because even though we was pushing Lou Star, he's like, yo, Dad, that'll be dope. Because I want to get a crew. So I'm gonna say, okay. So I arranged it for him to meet her. Because I remember when I first met Nicki, and she came over to my house in Brooklyn, the first thing she did, she didn't even rap, she sang a gospel song to me, and she sounded pretty good. And then she started doing the English dialect and all of that stuff that she was made famous, because she always was into the whole actress scenario. And once my son linked up with her and then brought 7-Up together as the Hood Stars, I was the one, and the real truth about it is that my son didn't put Safari in the group, I really wanted Safari to be in the group.
Yeah, me too.
Because I felt he had talent to me. But my thing of looking at him was to rap in the whole West Indian Jamaican thing, which he did on all those songs. And he was dancing stuff. So my son was they were best friends at that time. But my son said, oh, Dad, you really think so? I said, yeah, I think it would be dope. But 7-Up and Nicki, they weren't really feeling it. My son wasn't truly feeling it either. But I kind of pushed Safari on them. No, let him be in it. Pushed them on there. And that's how they became the Hood Stars. My son will tell his story after a while, but that's how they became the Hood Stars. Mm-hmm. And we went shopping them all over the place.
Yeah, but before you move to that, Lou, that's a story within itself. I was shopping them. That's, Safari's personality, I thought was dope when you mentioned him being in the group, because when I see Safari now as a solo, I'm like, that's not the kid I remember, man. That's not the kid. Because Safari was like our nephew.
Right.
People call me Uncle B, and
yes.
And back then, Safari was that kid where you said, yo, I dare you. Yo, you dare me? You dare me? And he would do it. His personality was more Busta Rhymes, more like just that wild kid. He was really a Brooklyn kid. And so we felt in the group, it would be a dope element from that standpoint.
And Nicki always had that same vibe, personality that everyone knows, but she was always like that, always in the studio, always writing, always creating. Her and Louis fed off one another all the time too.
Well, I would say Nicki, Louis, and 7-Up, they were the writers, basically. They were the initiated writers in the group. That's why, and as the Hood Stars, we took them to labels all over the place. We couldn't get a deal. Then when we broke them off separately, I used to run with Nicki a lot. We went to all the labels, G Unit.
Yeah, just so you know, we represented Nicki, my nephew, and 7-Up with Safari as the Hood Stars.
Right.
And then we couldn't get them a deal. We put them in front of everybody.
Right.
Everybody. And that was our mistake. We shouldn't have did that. We should have said, fuck everybody, and just did it ourselves. We forgot how we got in this game with Roxanne. That's another thing. So the deal is, we started shopping Nicki by herself, because Nicki wanted to, do her own thing.
Yeah, then we
So
took it to
right.
50, we took it to tie.
No.
Right.
We didn't take it to 50. See, that's one of the lessons I learned too.
Right,
If
right.
you were gonna deal with a label, fuck everybody else on the label. If you can, get it to the person who's the person.
Right.
Because I'll tell you this, and I'm gonna say this right now. When we took it to Roc Nation, and we met with Ty.
Rockefeller at the time.
Rockefeller
at the time.
Was it?
Yeah, it wasn't
Yeah,
Roc
it was
Nation
Rockefeller.
yet.
No.
Yeah.
Okay.
Starting to.
Right. You're right. Jay broke out on his own. Cool. So at that time, I remember feeling like, because a lot of the meetings I didn't want to go to. I was like, they ain't gonna fucking get it. When it was Ty, like, I'm going to this one. He's gonna get it.
Right.
He didn't get it.
You didn't get it?
He didn't fucking get it. I couldn't believe he didn't get it. I remember him listening to it, and I remember him like, yeah, she's all right. I said, nigga, she all right.
Right.
Yo, she's the real fucking thing. That's why I even came here. He's like, no, she got bars. She got bars.
He didn't see it.
What do you mean she got bars?
But he did. But Ty, in fairness to Ty, remember he did tell us that as far as female rappers, they're not looking at them now because Jay had, I think, re-signed Foxy Brown and they was going through something. No.
All right, this is just the way I see it. They had like problems with Foxy or some shit like that he was saying.
Okay.
I know it's on camera there. I don't fucking care. Right. The deal is that they had like, Jay's head was in that space at that time, dealing with like, female rappers or dealing with anything like that. Ty said that, nah,
right.
I don't really. And I just couldn't believe that he couldn't see it. But I do respect him because at the end of the day, after she blew up, the contract expired, I remember he said to Paul and Lou, yo, tell your brother, yo, y'all was right. Yeah, she was the real deal. And I respect that.
Good, Blaine.
Right, well, because Rockefeller had a meal, and
Jay.
that ended up being one of their lowest selling projects.
Yep.
And
Yeah.
I think she got dropped afterwards.
Right.
So Rockefeller really didn't have any luck with female artists, period.
I went to Warner Brothers, okay, to meet with Kevin Liles. I played him the Hood Stars tape, or CD or tape or whatever.
Right.
And he liked it, but he was like the first one out of everybody that we've took the Hood Stars. He was the first one that said,
And Nicki.
yo, and who?
And when you took Nicki solo as well.
Right, but here's how that became. So Kevin Liles says to me, yo man, I really like the Hood Stars, they're good, but something about that girl, something about that girl rapper, something about that Nicki Mirage, something about her. And he kept saying it. So what happened is that once we decided to everybody going their own ways, I took Nicki back, and I took Nicki to meet Kevin Liles after the fact. Met Kevin Liles.
Right.
Kevin Liles liked her. And see, I think when we weren't together, I think the bidding war was between Warner Brothers and Young Money. I think that was after we parted ways with Nicki amicably.
Right.
But what happened is that Kevin Liles and Nicki was talking and everything. After that, as they said, yeah, I want you to go and talk to my A&R guy that's in there. So we went to the A&R guy in there, and he loved Nicki and stuff like that. But for whatever reason, he's like, yo, man, I want on some of the songs, I would like to have a ghostwriter. I would like to have a ghostwriter write for you.
We knew that was a wrap.
And Nicki,
Nicki was like, excuse you?
what? Ghostwriter? Are you kidding? You remember that story?
I remember clearly.
Remember who
so-
it was, right?
Right. You remember who it was?
Yeah. It was Gene Nelson.
Gene Nelson. Love you, Gene.
At the time, he managed Kim. That's all love. Kim's family too.
But the thing about it is that Nicki refused. That's why when I hear the stories of
Nicki not writing her
Safari writing for Nicki, because Nicki was such a thing on. No, she always wanted to let people know female writers could write.
Let me see this as far as that. Now, I don't know what went on later on.
Yeah, we don't know what went
later
on.
on, because I give Safari props. When I saw him on Sway, I saw him like freestyle and said, oh shit, he can rap now. Okay, cool.
Now.
But the deal
Well,
is,
not really.
but back then, when with Nicki,
The Warner Brothers thing?
right, with the Warner Brothers thing.
Kevin Liles.
The thing is, what happened is Gene mentioned Juelz Santana probably writing some of her shit. You don't remember that?
Okay.
I remember
Some,
that.
not everything.
Here's the thing. back then, Nicki might be mad at saying it, but I haven't talked to Nicki in years. So I don't know. So Nicki kind of liked Juelz back then. Remember, Nicki's a young girl, didn't come up, but she kind of liked Juelz Santana back then. Even with that, when he mentioned about Juelz Santana probably ghostwriting some of Nicki's shit, Nicki's like, fuck that. So Nicki, it didn't matter how much she liked him. It didn't matter how much, she just saw her integrity being like put up. Mind you, I haven't talked to Nicki in like years. So I ain't got nothing to go, you know, I ain't get nothing out of this I'm just telling what it is. Nicki actually basically shut down her own possibility of getting that deal just because they wanted somebody to write for her.
And we still got some dope Nicki stuff in the vaults
Let's understand something. Nicki was hungry at that time too. Nicki didn't have no money. Nicki was struggling. Nicki's a Queens girl for real. I know dudes that grew up with Nicki that Nicki probably didn't know. I ended up knowing them. And they would tell me all about Onika, this, that, and the third, and how she grew up. She was the little sister and that. So Nicki needed that deal. We needed that deal. And she still was like, nah, if they think somebody gotta write my shit, then fuck it. And I'm thinking like, God damn. So if she really shut the deal down.
And we still stood by her because she was always adamant like that ever since we knew her. And the thing about it is, with her rap writing skills, it was honed in with her, Lou Star, and 7 Up. The three of them cultivated themselves from that early on.
But even back then, and my nephew said this best, that Nicki was always like very like about writing her own shit. She was very much like that. Cause I remember asking her to write something, you know, and then she went and she got this cat named Ruth Spitz to do the beat. And when she wrote it, I was just blown away. Cause I saw a cat named Fendi who used to work with her. He was honest. He said, well, you know, I never saw her write her rhymes. So I can't say whether she did or not. And I was honest. Okay, I did.
We did.
I would watch her in the studio write her shit. And I would watch them like exchange stuff like that, and she don't like something, write it. Yo, I had to make Nicki do a photo session with no makeup. Because she was so fine, people wasn't taking her like serious as a writer. And in the photo session, I made it that, I still got these pictures, with her writing on the pad in the studio. So they could take her serious, like, yo, this girl writes. So when Ty Ty was like, that bothered me because I knew she wasn't just like, oh, she's good for a girl. Nicki was good for good.
She always knew what she liked. And I would spend time with her singing. But our girl Deborah Anthony puts it best. One Love to Deb, where she said, full force birthed her, I raised her, and then Weezy took it from there.
And Young Money made her.
I like the way my girl.
That's dope. So full force birthed her, I raised her, and Young Money made her.
And you know, we had a lot of dope songs that Nicki did in her earlier, that she did after we separated amicably. And I remember after we separated amicably, me and Nicki still communicated and everything. I remember her still coming over to my house in Brooklyn, and we would talk. And then I just told her, I said, well, you're still doing your thing. Why don't you go on MySpace and put your stuff on there? I was the one to first tell her about the whole MySpace thing.
And I was so mad at him because I was like, nigga, why didn't you say that while we was with her?
Well, why didn't you?
I know I'm an ass too.
I know, but the bottom line is that she came back to me and she said, Lou, I want to thank you for definitely telling me to do the MySpace thing. And you know, we were just happy for Nicki, you know, and even with stuff coming out on her mixtape that we had nothing to do with, she had a couple of joints that belonged to us. Like we produced the song that she did, the autobiography. We produced that song.
That's still one of the best things she ever wrote.
Yeah, we produced that on her, and it was just a great song. In fact, we did the background vocals, and our brother up in heaven, Big Sean Wright, he was singing all the ad-libs in there also. So we have some music that we did on Nicki. That's fire. The early years, that's fire, slamming, crazy. And
just holding it for a minute.
Nicki with the early years, y'all gonna hear some stuff is really great. In fact, Jerry had did a track, and what do we call it? It was about how Nicki's talking to all the haters or whatever. This before she actually came out. I forgot this name of the song, but I remember you liked it. Yeah. But we have a lot of that stuff. Nicki before the whole Minaj thing.
Yeah, and then she went on to become the biggest female rapper of all time.
And you want to know something? The crazy thing too, Vlad, is like when it's not always easy to get deals, because even as Full Force, and we're shopping Nicki to everywhere, all the places, all the labels. But then when I heard the story that Trey Songz did the same thing with Drake. Trey Songz
Right.
was shopping Drake all over the place. So sometimes it's the luck of the draw, you know.